welcome to CAGET Cat. And today I'm just going to be talking about the state of different tower defense games in Roblox. What this video is basically going to be is it's going to be me kind of talking about just the general state of the whole genre in Roblox. It's not just focusing on one particular game. It's talking about the entire genre of tower defense in Roblox. But to explain what the genre is at right now, we need to first explain what the genre is and then kind of go into the history of it. Tower defense as a video game genre is basically this simple. Enemies are coming from one or multiple points, going to one or multiple places you're defending. If you get to the place where you're defending, you take damage or die. And that's bad. So to stop them, you place down towers, which usually don't move, but in some games they can because it's funky. And they usually attack the enemy. They attack the enemies or do other things that are beneficial to defending your base, such as produce money or attack the enemy. That's really the whole genre explanation. But of course, because of how simple it is, you can have really advanced games you have upgrades and stuff, or you have really simple games that are cringy, The genre gives how simple the rules are. It could be both casual or competitive games. In the background right now, you're watching Tower Battles, which is a more competitive tower defense game. Actually, brings us to your first point in history. Tower Battles is probably the godfather in pretty much every tower defense game in Roblox. The first one was Mecha Cubes, but Mecha Cubes had no importance, didn't affect anything in the genre. Mecha Cubes was the first, but no one knows, I don't even think it's important at all. It's just mentioning it first, that's all you need to know about it. Then Tower Battles, which invented most of the specializations that most tower defense games in Roblox are somewhat inspired by Tower Battles in a way or another. And then Tower Defense Simulator, a game which will be... I actually didn't record any footage of Tower Defense Simulator for this video, but Tower Defense Simulator kind of popularized the genre on Roblox. Building off of Tower Battles, mechanics, which is, So basically, Tower Battles was... Tower Defense Simulator basically copied Tower Battles and they got more popular, but then became its own thing. And then you have other games like Tower Blitz, which I did a video on previously, as where it's taking ideas from both Tower Battles and Tower Defense Simulator, So it's kind of the evolutionary tree of these games, such as, Tower Defense X, the game John Roblox is making, is inspired heavily off of Tower Battles and Tower Defense Simulator. The guy actually worked on Tower Defense Simulator's dev team and was friends with the creator of Tower Battles, so it has heavy inspirations from those games, especially with theming. And then it takes Tower Blitz's two upgrade routes, which is this, Tower Blitz, by the way, was based off of early Tower Defense Simulator development in Tower Battles, so, but then became its own thing, so, yeah. And then, there's, that big core pillar of, all these military-themed tower defense games, which will eventually branch off into other pillars, such as the gacha tower defense games, which I usually call the anime games, because most of them are like that. You have, what's it called? Also, Tower Defense being the first gacha tower defense game, and it was a anime-inspired game. There's a bunch off of that, This is this is the one side of Tower Defense games I'm not really as in the know about. The only one I've really played that much, besides, I played a little bit of All-Star, but I never really got into it, was Monolith, which I did a video previously as well, doing a cadet-only challenge, which is one of the towers in the game, which is basically the starting tower, it's the starting tower of that game, basically. And I made it brokenly overpowered and beat two modes, the easy and medium mode in that game with it. But the side of the community I don't know much about. The main... And then you also have the story kind of side, which started with Evolution Evade, which is what you're seeing in the background right now, which then split into Tower Galactica, which was very heavily tied to Tower Evolution Evade, which Evolution Evade is now getting a sequel, and about half the dev team of Evolution Evade 2 is from Tower Galactica. And a lot of Evolution Evade's dev team went to Tower Galactica, so this is kind of all these games are connected. Pixel Gun Tower Defense is also kind of tied in this group, because of multiple community similarities. You also have games like Tower Heroes, which is super stylized, But basically, I need to kind of explain how this evolutionary... I feel like different Tower Defense games are inspired by other ones. And so the Tower Defense genre on Roblox kind of would start with Bloons Tower Defense 5, which inspired Tower Battles, which Tower Battles mechanically has some ideas that are new. The paths are very similar. They work, you can see in the gameplay right now, kind of what the paths kind of look like for these games. So what, the paths are kind of like that. The map design, because in Roblox you have your avatar, requires your character being able to walk around and place towers and stuff, but you're being from the point of view of a, like a god, basically. You also have, things like, like road towers, which are introduced in Tower Blocks patrols at a military base. I guess there's also graveyard. And I guess commander's ability, but all the tower names in Tower Defense games are very similar, are identical to Tower Battle's names. Tower Battles is the only Tower Defense is unique because it has a PvP mode which no one's been able to replicate well enough. I honestly think if you want to make a good PvP Tower Defense game on Roblox, the whole game needs to be PvP and not just like focus on survival and have the PvP mode. Like, that's Evolution made failed in that department, But yeah. Anyway, but then Tower Defense Simulator introduced the mechanic of skins, and also had the gacha mechanic for the skins. And skins are used in a lot of Tower Defense games on Roblox. That was a big involvement that had, and also popularized the game. So a lot of Tower Defense games are now inspired by Tower Defense Simulator, creators never knowing about Tower Battles. But a majority of games do know about Tower Battles existing. And then things like All-Stars took that and the monolith and other games, which I don't even know about. Would take the gacha of skins, make it towers, but then make tons of towers which are lower quality, but there's tons of them, and they can improve different ways. Was there games like Evolution Evade and stuff, and Tower Galactica have tons of levels, but and Tower Galactica had a story mechanic, which I call the story group, but they had tons of levels, and skins were not they didn't really have the loot boxing mechanic, Our games, Pixel Gun Tower Defense has a unique mechanic of it's I don't play it much. It's actually talking about what I think I've only played. I don't play that much of it as even though I made more video. I played for all the Tower Defense games. A lot of time I recorded them compared to play them. Pixel Gun I have more time. The highest for recording equal to playtime because I don't play it that much. But yeah, but as a unique mechanic of towers and the character being separate instead of being just a tower. The weapon and character being separate instead of being a tower. It's a really cool idea. But it's one of those franchise-based games. There's a Backrooms Tower Defense game. And also, I should probably talk about the Gnome Code tutorial, which is a group of videos made by a channel called Gnome Code, which is explains about a tower defense game on Roblox, which it's just kind of getting outdated because of Roblox code updates, but a lot of tower defense games are built off of that. There's also a lot of franchise-based ones, like a Tower Defense game based off franchise, such as there's Undertale, there's a Star Wars one, there's a Backrooms one, which you'll see later in the video. Background recording, if we get that far in the video, but you get what I mean, right? So there's all these unique ideas, but for these Tower Defense games, and most of them let's take my favorite Roblox Tower Defense game and add X, or remove X from it. And you can kind of see a pattern here, Tower Defense was let's take Tower Battles, but let's actually, add skins, and not focus as much on PvP, and focus more on survival elements. Or you have Tower Blitz. It's let's take Tower Battles and Tower Defense Simulator and add 2 upgrade paths. And TDX is what if we take Tower Battles, Tower Defense Simulator, and Tower Blitz, and kind of make them an extremely high quality military based game. Tower Defense, and now I kind of explain on the tree. Oh yeah, there's Cube Defense as well, which is built off of other games, but it was the first Tower Defense game. The only one that actually inspired was Cube Defense. Mecha Cubes is the only thing that inspired was really Cube Defense and a few other games that weren't popular, but Cube Defense is the only one that was really notable. Which also took inspiration from Tower Battles, but that's an interesting game as well. But yeah, Cube Defense actually started out pretty unique, but then took a lot of influence from other Tower Defense games in Roblox, which is the reverse. Most Tower Defense games take a bunch of influence and then become unique. It's a unique take on that game, but some Tower Defense news, which is kind of unrelated to what I've been talking about previously. But Tower, the 2 games I'm more than know about, I'll talk about for the news because there's things I don't know what's going on a lot. Evolution Evade and Tower Galactica have canceled development. Evolution Evade is because the codes are so outdated, and I want to take ideas from Tower Galactica and make a sequel with basically story elements of Tower Galactica, but as a sequel to Evolution Evade. And Tower Galactica canceled because they're working on the Unity games. They're going to publish on Steam. But yeah, so that's the state of those games, but there's also Evolution Evade 2 coming out, so and another game coming out is Tower Defense X, made by popular YouTuber John Roblox, but yeah. So there's a lot, but that game doesn't. Those are like some news that I've heard about. Like, I'm more towards the story-based tower defense pillar or the original pillar. I don't go much towards the other pillars and stuff. I put a lot of these games, like a lot of the structural elements of these games are just the same. So that actually gets to my first problem with the state of tower defense games is that there's not enough unique content for some of these games. It's like there's tons of people who want to work on these games, but they're like most dev teams don't like allow them. So then they make, I've had experience of Evolution Evade of all things, or basically people make a game that other people really like. They want to have help develop it and have their own ideas. Original dev team of games says no, so then they go and build their own game, which is basically a copy of the other game that they wanted to add, And that's pretty much how all these games formed. Honestly, some of these games, are just so similar, like Tower Blitz. And the reason why I didn't ever get into it is I don't want to grind a new game just to get towers that are basically identical to other two games. The only, you know what I mean, right? It's I don't want to basically replay two other games and just get the same content. Basically, replay a game that already beats hundreds of times with some slight twist to it, just to unlock the unique content of the game, which are usually events, which are now becoming less unique. It's you're just replaying the same game hundreds of times. Because all these tower defense games are so similar because they're all built off the same groundwork, basically, of mechanics. That's I just want to do something. Well, I understand having the same groundwork because that's why I like these games. They're all very similar. Some of them are just way too similar. Having some similarity is nice. It's really nice. But, some of these games just don't honestly... I feel like they're it's just combined a few games are... Let's take one game and add our own elements to it. It's Toy Defenders or whatever are... It's really a cool, unique idea of how they made the towers, but it's gameplay-wise, it's just other tower defense game except towers of infinite levels, and those towers may sell Roblox toys, which they don't make anymore, Or you have, what is it called? I can't remember. It used to be called Tower Defenders, but they renamed it. I forgot what they renamed it to, but it was basically a tower defense game, but had a more medieval vibe and laid your game out a lot because they used a lot of weird textures. I forgot what it was called now. But they renamed it, but yeah. But all these tower defense games are, I feel are just really similar to each other. And some tower defense games, it's honestly, it's mainly the theming. It's most of them are military-based. Military with a little bit of future tech that's during a zombie apocalypse. And so a majority of these games basically are theme-wise. And I didn't want to play Tower Blitz because how similar it was to Tower Blitz and Tower Blitz, and then I realized the theming had aliens that actually had interesting lore, and it's maybe I'll give it a try. And 2 upgrade routes, it's also how toxic these games communities are. They don't have the best towers. You basically can't find anyone to play with. But you have the best towers. It's I understand having good towers is important for winning, but having strategy is also important. It's really annoying when you're playing tower defense games. You want to play with some friends, but no one wants to play with you because you don't have good towers. It's kind of sad. It's I played hundreds of these games. I know how the strategies to beat these games. It just takes me a few rounds to learn the different mechanics, and then it's alright, I know how to play this game, but I have to spend another 10 hours grinding to get better towers so I can actually find groups to play with that actually do the unique stuff in the game that I've been watching. Was the reason why I played the game in the first place. It's or the fact that these communities are kind of really just toxic. There's a lot of just negative people in these communities that are just super mean to you. I've had a lot of experiences with that. There's some developers of Evolution Evade and Tower Galactica that's an animator that I really do not like as how mean they were to me before. You can probably guess who that is if you're into this community, but that's an example of someone who is just kind of a dick in these community. But yeah, so the problems of the community are just generally, the community is just these game communities are very similar. If you play one of these games, you're going to be specialized in one and get really good at it. But if you get bored, you're going to switch to another one. And then go back to the original one and they have new content. So it's you know, if you've been playing these games for a while, it's like, you know, you're basically, if you know, it's just feeling stale. But I really like these games. It's kind of feeling stale, and the community's just getting more and more toxic, which is in turn causing people to quit playing one game, play another, and then if they're interested in development of video games, it's like, you know what, maybe I'll go make my own one. You know, it's just interesting to see, you know, these games, which is like, you know, just like getting repetitive. You know, anyway. So basically, the tower defense genre in Roblox is, well, it's built off the same game with similar ideas. They're too similar at this point, and you kind of talk about the history and stuff. I mean, I'm running out of things to say in this video, but yeah. Generally, just, you know, these games are in an interesting state where it's like, because one of the original states that caused the whole genre to expand was Tower Battles got low in updates, people got bored and made their own fan games. One of them got popular, Tower Defense Simulator. I think like Bullying Tower Battles never got really popular, but Tower Defense Simulator got popular. And then after Tower Defense Simulator got popular, it then got stale, and all these other fan games started getting created based off of the ideas from Tower Defense Simulator and Tower Battles, and then when Tower Defense Simulator kind of got unpopular, and these other fan games kind of got popular, these other games got popular, and then when those games got unpopular, because they got new games that are similar to them got popular, and it kind of built a bunch of branches on this tower defense games in Roblox. But yeah, it's just, this genre is just like interesting. I really like playing these games, you know. But yeah, this is the kind of state of tower defense games in Roblox. If you enjoyed the video, remember to like and subscribe to CAGET on YouTube. Have a nice day, and peace. And also, before I end the video right now, what would you guys think of like me doing like more content that's just about the general state of tower defense games in Roblox, like just news or like just general like history things of these games or stuff like that? This is just kind of like a test video to see how stuff does, and I know it's probably not going to get popular if I don't have a good thumbnail, but I don't know the best thumbnail making tools, so yeah.